Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're finally here with our Heimerdinger complete guide. So of course, we just did the basic guide yesterday, so don't forget to check that one out. I'll put it up in the cards above if you guys have not yet. Of course, explaining how the champion really works, his skills, leveling order tips and tricks, as well as abilities. But let's now jump into the items, runes, and spells. So now, for the items on Heimerdinger, I think that there are many like kind of different builds that people go for. I'm just gonna talk about what I think is a good build and what I personally build on Heimerdinger. It looks something like this, but I will talk about a lot of the other items that you can actually build, and depending on the situation. So for me, of course, Boots of Mana, first item, AP, Mana Regen, Magic Pen, no surprise there. Luden's first item, very popular because obviously, Luden's as a first item for a mage is just really good. Luden's gives you everything you want: AP, Mana, Ability, Haste, Magic Pen, which is on basically every magic item anyway, and the Echo passive, which allows you to deal a bit of AoE damage and more importantly burst damage to one target. So generally, a lot of people agree this should be the first item on Heimerdinger. And then this second item is where people usually differ. Like some people like to go for even first item technically. Some people like to go for Liandry's Rylai's as first two item, for example. And there are many different builds, but I like going for Luden's first. I tried Liandry's Rylai's first. I didn't really like it. I tried Soul Stealer first. I tried Infinity Orb first. I didn't really like those, so I like Luden's first. I like to go for a Soul Stealer second item. So this one, it gives you flat magic pen, percent magic pen, ability haste, AP, and health. Of course, when you kill people, you are going to be able to steal their movement speed as well as their ability haste, up till the point where they respawn. And honestly, Heimerdinger is such an OP champion that you should be expecting to kill / assist in kills, and you should be able to proc the Soul Stealer really often. And I think this is very useful, especially when you after you kill like one or two people in the team fights, you can start to use your abilities more. And I have had times where you kill let's say 4 or 5 people, and then you want to clear wave. You can start spamming your turrets and spamming your abilities because the cooldown becomes so short. Because I've gotten a lot of ability haste from it. You guys will see in the gameplay later on. I like to go for this. Now third item is pretty standard. It's going to be Death Cap. Now obviously, like any mage, Death Cap third item is always going to be the way to go. Now last two items, there's a lot of freedom. I think Rylai's, Liandry's as last two items, like either Liandry's first or Rylai's first, doesn't make sense because the towers being able to slow people down means that they're going to take a lot more damage and they're going to be stuck in the area is really useful. But you can just straight up not go for Rylai's as well. Liandry's is very useful again because your turrets all proc Liandry's, and it's going to cause a lot of extra burn damage, especially if you're into a tanky team. Liandry's is going to be amazing. Now in the gameplay later on, you're going to see I'm basically into a full squishy team. So if you're in a full squishy team, I don't recommend Liandry's because Liandry's is only really good for countering tanks. If you're into a squishy team, you can go for something like Infinity Orb, because Infinity Orb, of course, allows you to burst people down more easily. So into a squishy team, you could go for Infinity Orb, second item. You could go for it fourth item, things like that. And if you're not going for the entries, you could still go for Rylai's, but another option you have is Riftmaker, because Riftmaker, of course, lets you deal true damage over time, and your turrets count into Riftmaker charging, so you will have a point where all your turrets are proccing Riftmaker, things like that. Of course, you have options like Crown if you're into a lot of assassins, just for safety. You also have anti-shield, anti-heal, things like that. Pretty much the Heimerdinger build, there's a lot of options. So the runes, there's also a lot of options. Let's try to go through it a bit quickly now. Pretty much, I think most people agree that the best the keystone rune is going to be Arcane Comet, because you can proc it really easily with your abilities as well as with your turrets. So it gives you a lot of extra poke and just a lot of extra damage throughout the game. Now for your primary tree, you really have 3 options for your primary tree. This is the first option, going for Domination. You have Scorch to deal a bit of extra damage, Cheap Shot, again a little bit more extra damage when you hit your E, and Eyeball Collector. Now I tried this in the gameplay that you see just now, and I actually don't really like it because I really don't think it does all that much extra damage. I actually think what is better is 2 options. Option number 1 is going for this, something like this, going for Precision, first tree, so you get Gathering Storm for a lot of the extra AP, Giant Slayer for the damage to tanks, or you could go for Coup de Grace if you're into squishies, and something like Bloodline because you really don't have a lot of other better options here. Attack speed is useless. I think that Tenacity here is useless as well because I think you're gonna die if you get caught anyway. And then your last option is going for something like this, which is going to be your Perseverance. Not Perseverance, it's going to be your Inspiration tree. So You have Sweet Tooth for extra healing, extra gold, Transcendence, of course, for extra ability haste, and something like Nimbus Cloak to, of course, get your extra movement speed. You can also go for the Seed Jar. So Seed Jar has a pretty interesting interaction. Number one, you can proc Sweet Tooth twice, and number two, you can use the Blast Plant to blast plant your turrets over walls, which is something I talked about in my basic guide. So check that out if you don't know what I'm talking about. Basically, you have these three options, and your secondary rune, of course, you can just go for whatever you're lacking. So for example, you could go for for example, if you have this, you could go for like Transcendence. If you have this, you could go for Gathering Storm, just mix and match basically. So for your spells, you want to of course go for Flash all the time, and I like to go for Exhaust personally, because if people jump on top of me or get close to me, I can just exhaust them. But you can also go for something like Barrier, for example, or even Ignite if you're more aggressive. But with all that said, now let's take a look at Heimerdinger's bot lane gameplay. Okay, so let's take a look at the Heimerdinger gameplay, and of course I'm playing Heimerdinger in the bot lane. As an ADC main, bot lane is where I usually play, so that's where I'm playing Heimerdinger. And of course, after patch 5.3a, after he got those nerfs, people have been letting him through the draft from time to time, and this is one of those times. I was actually like 4th pick in this game, I think, and I actually still got Heimerdinger. Like, it was open and people didn't even like pick it. So here, I'm not sure if this is the best thing to do, but I like to set up 2 turrets at the start of the game to just straight away get push and just get minion advantage, and then just set up more if they get destroyed. I'm not sure if this is the best approach, because you do burn through your turrets pretty quickly, but that's what I kind of like to do. And Heimerdinger in lane is just pretty much just pushing anyways. Either you're pushing them in, which should be the case most of the time with your turrets, or if they push you in, then you put turrets under your tower to clear the minions. It's relatively straightforward. Heimerdinger is not a very strong champion in lane. He is a mage that does require to get some items before he's really strong, like maybe at least like first item, but honestly his base damages are pretty strong. Like, that's why he's OP, right? So his base damages are pretty strong, so you could make something happen in lane, but it's normally because of an enemy mistake. Like, Heimerdinger is not the kind of flashy champion like Akali or Irelia who can like easily kill people in lane. It's really difficult for him to do that. Like, for him to actually kill someone in lane, you either have to get a gank, or the enemy team has to mess up and fight you in your turrets, and they have to like underestimate you. But I think at this point people don't underestimate Heimerdinger just because of how OP he was on release. So you can see it's a very uneventful early game. Here you can see Jin tries to go for the toolkit, and I'm trying to harass him as he's trying to go for the toolkit. Now, of course, ideally you want to proc your Arcane Comet as much as possible, and generally the easiest way to do that is to launch your E at somebody, because your W gets blocked easily, and your Q, your turrets, is not very easy to hit, not very easy to actually land onto champions. So I landed a good E there onto the Jin, and Karma landed a root there, which allowed me to follow up with a W. So Jin does take a decent chunk of damage, but so does Karma. So yeah, Jin is pretty low, but again, it's very unlikely that we kill him unless he makes a really big mistake, or unless we get ult, something like that. Here, we obviously can see Kane coming through the wall because of that spot on the wall, and he is forced to flash away because he did go under a tower. Not our tower, but the actual tower. So he went under the actual tower, and he got stunned right there, and he found himself in a little bit of a pickle, to say the least. So here, we're just going to set up more turrets to just blast these minions. The minions, it's actually in a pretty nice freezing position, but we don't really want to freeze. We actually do want to back and pick up the mana boots, because we are a mage, and without mana boots we are going to be able to, but we're not going to be able to sustain ourselves in lane, because our mana consumption is a tad too high for that. And yeah, overall we're just going to burn through our mana. We are almost to level 5 though. The enemy team did stay in lane, so they are going to be able to hit level 5 before us. We still have this turret here, which was already pre-placed, and yeah. So you have to take note that the turrets can be a detriment against certain champions. For example, Jin bounced his 4th bullet over, and here is a gank. So here you can see we are able to follow up with the ult E for the stun, and then into the W for the kill, and Volibear is able to get the other kill as well. So again, like I said, pretty good gank set up with the E, ult E I should say, and we can get kills in lane if ganks come through, and really nice gank there by the Volibear. So I kind of forgot the point I was trying to make before that gank happened, but here Lissandra comes in. Just look at this, by the way. She's in the turrets and she's getting blasted. I exhaust her to try to save my support. Unfortunately, the enemy support shows up to the party. Gets a nice two-man charm. Just look at that damage from all the turrets. We land one of those abilities and the turrets just blast them with the beams. That's how OP Heimerdinger is. Just blasting with the beams. Karma not very good at dodging Jhin ultimate, unfortunately, and just straight up dies. Heimerdinger is really squishy, so I can't exactly just block. So here again, we use the W onto the Jhin, which procs our beam blast from our turrets, and really I feel a lot of Heimerdinger's damage comes from those beam blasts from the turrets. So a lot of times if you can get down a few turrets and then you start smacking your abilities, those beam blasts is where all of the damage is really going to be done, to the enemies in that sense. And yeah. So here we're back into the lane. We do have two turrets in our pocket that we can spawn, which we're gonna do just there. Oh, I remember the point I was gonna make just now, which is that your turrets can be a detriment against certain champions. So the two worst ADCs you can play against is MF as well as Sivir, because Sivir can bounce ricochet off of your turrets, and that's gonna allow the ricochets to bounce to yourself and other team members, and that's gonna be bad. And number two, MF can Q through the turret and blast someone behind it. So here, yeah, it's becoming a full-on skirmish here. Unfortunately, we don't really have the turrets set up. So here we're trying to get into position. We get the stun onto the Lissandra and the kill onto her. We're just auto-attacking the Kayn to get the assist, and we do. So my team generally wins the fight, and because of that, we are going to be able to pick up this dragon. I'm going to leave the turret there to do the work for me. I'm going to quickly rotate over to push in this wave into the enemy tower so that we can get off a good reset. And with that, we are going to be able to complete our Luden's Echo, which is of course going to be our first major item power spike. Right here with an extra Amp Tome to boot as well. So we're 3-0-4, and you can already see, like, I mean, honestly, even before we got Ludens, you just saw, like, just now that one fight where we had, like, 3 turrets down, and we landed both of our abilities. Like, we basically one-shot the Seraphine from full HP to, like, 1 HP, which is really nuts. Now Volibear is coming in for another gank. Tries to catch up, but doesn't quite get it. Now, unfortunately, he didn't have ult. Like, if he had ult here, I think we could have just dived them under the tower, because he would just disable the tower, and we could just easily just dive them under the tower. But it's not to be, and instead we do get lane priority because Volibear did chase them away back to under the tower. So Kayn is now doing the gorilla turret. So Volibear is going over to contest, as is Yone. It's becoming another skirmish over there. He steals it actually, which is pretty insane. And here we're just still in the 2v2. Nothing too exciting really happening in the 2v2. Double heal on the enemy bot lane, by the way, which is pretty interesting choice. Karma is relatively low and has to walk out of the Jhin ultimate range. Lissandra is now coming for us. I set up a turret because I know she's going to walk through. I stun her and my turrets are just blasting her. I ult W to just finish the kill on her. So yeah, pretty insane damage. And here we're trying to set up the turrets to clear out the minions. Unfortunately, I get rooted by Jhin, which means that I also get charmed, and Jhin finishes me off with an auto attack. And I even waste my flash because I was trying to get out of the way before I could get killed. But unfortunately, the auto attack already came through and followed me with the flash. And yeah, I just pretty much wasted a flash there, and I got shut down by the Jhin, which is a tad unfortunate to say the least. So yeah, I mean, Heimerdinger, his main weakness is if you take fights where you don't have your turrets down or you don't have any charges of turrets to even put down, is kind of where the issue really lies, right? Because if that's the case, then you really kind of lack in damage. I mean, yeah, you could be so fed that you could just alt W someone and just kill them straight up, which is kind of how Heimerdinger kind of joins fights. I missed my alt W there because Kayn ulted, but Kayn is just going to die. I exhaust to ensure my Karma lives, and we do end up getting the kill off of our 3 turrets. Just blasting the Kayn into next week. But yeah, if you don't have your turrets, you're losing out on a lot of damage, because other than your W and your E, they're really meant to launch the lasers for your turrets, and if you don't have those lasers, you're going to lose out on a lot of damage. So here, let's waddle our way back to bot lane, and we're going to quickly pick up the farm here, like so. And we should have enough for the Soul Stealer, so we are going to get Soul Stealer. Now, there is a point in this game that I actually get 100 ability haste from the Soul Stealer, when I think I ace the enemy team or something like that, and I will point it out later on. But the kind of not issue, but the kind of mini issue of killing the whole team and getting a lot of Soul Stealer stacks is that, what's the point of having so much ability haste if there's no enemy alive to use it on anyway? I mean, yeah, we're going to use it on minion waves and clear waves faster, but or objectives, but yeah, you know, it's kind of a little bit funny in that sense that you know, if the enemy team is dead, then there's no point having so much ability haste, right? So here we're contesting in the mid lane, just putting down our turrets to help us out a little bit. But they're getting destroyed by the Jhin really quickly. Ashe arrow comes straight down mid. It wasn't really even close to hitting me or Karma. Don't think that Ashe has a driver's license for the arrow. And here the dragon is coming up in 15 seconds, so we're just kind of waiting around the area, because probably it's going to be where the team fights the objectives. Here the enemy team is trying to come through the side, so I'm using my turrets to try to blast. Unfortunately, the stasis comes through from the Lissandra, which prevents me from actually killing her. Now I'm trying to just blast them down with my Alt W, which I did get a lot of damage. I have to exhaust the Ashe here. And here she kills me, but my turrets take revenge for me after I die, which is a thing that can happen on Heimerdinger. And in all the games I play Heimerdinger, this happens like at least once per match. Like, I have so many instances where the enemy team does manage to kill me, but my turret kills them after I die, which is pretty funny. Because, yeah, you know, how many champions can actually kill someone when they're literally dead? Not too many. And yeah, so here the low HP Lissandra on the run from Karma does get away with the help of her Hex Flash and just running. So here I'm back alive. The dragon is still up, so we are trying to make our way there and see if we can secure this next dragon. Something interesting about Heimer is that he doesn't actually have to be there. He can just put a turret over the wall to just help out like this. But we do want to be there to kind of stop Kayn. So I'm setting up a turret where Kayn would likely have to walk through. Here he is. I'm not using my spells on him. He doesn't get the dragon and he instead dies. Volibear gets a pretty nice ult. I ult W, but I miss it completely. Seraphine taking a bunch of damage from my turret and just dies. Like, oh, look at that, right? She had more than half health and she just dies. The grenade secures another kill. And yeah, so that is, I believe, a clean ace. And at this point with the Soul Stealer, I should have not 100, but a high amount of ability haste, which is going to allow me to clear this wave very quickly. So here I can just spam my spells and spam my turrets, because you know, the ability haste is going to give me back, give it back to me really quickly. Anyways, I'm quickly using the last of my spells before the enemy team respawns and I lose all the ability haste. But and the movement speed also so insane. Like, if you guys notice how fast I zoomed to the bot lane because of the movement speed I stole from like almost the entire enemy team, that was nuts. So we get both of our death cap components. We're really close to actually completing our death cap, and obviously, needless to say, when you hit death cap, it's going to be a very major power spike. Here I'm trying to help out my Karma. So I try to set up the turrets, but unfortunately I get caught by the Seraphine ulti, and before I was really able to do anything, I end up dying. I try to get one of those post-death kills onto the Seraphine, but unfortunately I'm not quite able to finish her off. I didn't have a turret near enough to kill her. So here Volibear, he's really fat. He's 5'1" and 10. He's trying to defend this tower. I didn't think defending the tower was a very good idea, but he's just running down the Jhin. Just look at that damage. He's just killing the Jhin, and he's now going onto the Ashe, giving her the same treatment. Unfortunately, he gets ganged up on by the literal entire enemy team, and he does end up dying because of that. Here, Kayn is trying to 1v1 the Mort. Mort eventually does die to Lissandra, but it's a 1-for-1 trade, which I think is a okay kind of deal for us. I'm back alive, and yeah, I mean, already from this point, I mean, I don't think I really need to tell you guys how OP Heimerdinger is. I believe everybody who has played the game has pretty much already like realized how OP Heimerdinger actually is, so it's like no real surprise. But But yeah, like he's really OP in like every role, right? You can play him every role other than jungle. He's OP in the top lane, in the mid lane, in the ADC role, in the support role, every single role other than jungle. I have never seen a Heimerdinger jungle, but it honestly wouldn't surprise me if someone played Heimerdinger jungle. I can see it happening, right? You use your turrets to tank the jungle monsters and take the jungle monsters. And yeah, although I'm not sure if the jungle monsters will one-shot your turrets. So we'll have to see about that. But I haven't actually seen Heimerdinger jungle at all. Turret over the wall there gets a nice blast onto the Ashe. So now here, Kayn is dead. So Jhin is dead as well. So now we're trying to do the Baron. So here, I'm just putting down all my turrets into the Baron pit. And this actually takes the Baron very, very quickly. The DPS from the towers are really, really insane. And we secure the Baron pretty much for free. Kayn is trying to, I don't know, kill the Karma, I guess, but not very successful. Here he's overextending, and I just blast him with my Alt W. Karma finishes off the kill. And yeah, we're just gonna run them down at this point. All of them do end up dying, and this is the point that even though Jhin is still alive, like from the 4 kills that I got here, or 4 kills slash assist, I'm not even sure if I got all 4 of them. I think I maybe only got 3, but I have 100 ability haste here. So I guess it's mostly coming from Lysandra and Seraphine because they have a decent chunk of ability haste. Ashe doesn't actually really have any, and Kayn does have Black Cleaver, so probably coming from Kayn, Lysandra, and as well as Seraphine mostly. I got the 100 ability haste there. I just straight up cleared the minion wave recall and things like that. I'm not running back to join my team. My team shouldn't be fighting because I'm not there yet, and the TX is also not there. So we should be should be relaxing a little bit, trying to get the kill onto the Lysandra. Just look at the damage. We hit a normal W and we end up just killing her just like that. So here Alt W kills the Ashe, stasis for good measure to ensure she doesn't get the trade onto me with that final auto attack right before she died. And here it's me and the T-Hex. Volibear is going for some monkey business up in the top lane. It does distract a lot of the enemy team though. I'm really low HP, so I'm actually getting the fruit dust so I get back to like half HP so I don't get just one shot by the enemy team. The entire enemy team is focusing on killing the Volibear. Meanwhile, they're leaving me and the T-Hex unattended. So T-Hex is just gonna ult down this tower as well as the next minion wave while he's at it. And then we're just gonna spawn some turrets here and try to end the game. Volibear is coming in with the wave on the top lane as well. And a couple seconds more for the respawn of Ashe and Lysandra, but too late because we end up finishing off the game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this Heimerdinger bot lane gameplay and seeing how OP is in that role as well. I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.